Is recognized for 5 minutes in support of his amendment.
Mr. Chairman, the purpose of this amendment is simple: to prohibit any federal funds from flowing to law enforcement organizations that engage in any form of racial, ethnic, or religious profiling. It's been a matter of concern for decades among minority communities when policing organizations engage in profiling, but recent events have brought the problem into sharp focus. Starting last August, the Associated Press published a series of disturbing stories about the systematic racial, ethnic, and religious profiling conducted by the New York City Police Department against Muslim and Arab Americans in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Louisiana. In September of last year, I asked the Department of Justice to investigate what we now know was a pattern of surveillance and infiltration by the New York Police Department against innocent American Muslims in the absence of a valid investigative reason. These Muslim communities were mapped, infiltrated, and surveilled simply because they were Muslim. Profiling is wrong. Profiling on the basis of race, ethnicity, and religion is a violation of core constitutional principles. Profiling is also wrong because it is not good policing. Profiling is an unthinking, lazy, unprofessional approach to police work and intelligence work.
Gentleman's time has expired. Gentleman from New York.
Chairman, move to strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Chairman, I must say that I strongly oppose this amendment, and I disagree with virtually every word spoken on the floor tonight by the gentleman from New Jersey. Let's understand one thing. The NYPD is the most effective counter-terrorism unit in the country. There are 1,000 police working day in and day out. As a result of that, almost 13 or 14 attempts, terrorist attempts, Islamist terrorist attempts to attack New York have been stopped. Now, let's get something straight. The President's Homeland Security Advisor, John Brennan, recently visited with the NYPD. During that meeting, or following that meeting, Mr. Brennan, President Obama's Homeland Security Advisor, stated, quote, "I have full confidence that the NYPD is doing things consistent with the law, and it's something that, again, has been responsible for keeping this city safe over the past decade." Mr. Brennan, the President's Homeland Security Advisor, went on to say, if we're going to have the ability to identify and stop terrorist operatives and terrorist attacks here on our shores, the national government cannot do it alone. The NYPD is a model of how a community can come together. He closed by saying to the NYPD, you have had a very difficult job. I think you have done it very well. The success is in the record in terms of keeping this city safe. In addition to that, FBI Director Mueller has stood by the NYPD, said that they are in full compliance with the law. CIA Director Petraeus, there's an IG inspection done that the NYPD's relationship with the CIA was in full compliance with the law. These slanderous attacks by the Associated Press and the New York Times cannot point out one instance of the law being violated or one provision of the Constitution being violated. We should be here tonight giving the NYPD a medal. We sit here 10.5 years after September 11th, and the most effective law enforcement counterterrorism unit in the country is being attacked. We are attempting to cite the Constitution and provisions of law as somehow an attack on the NYPD when no one complies with these more than the NYPD. And again, we go through whether it's Director Petraeus, whether it's Director Mueller, or whether it's the President of the United States, his own Homeland Security Advisor, have said this. Now, I work closely with the NYPD. Those in New York, whether it's Mayor Bloomberg, whether it's City Council President Christine Quinn, she's a Democrat, he's an independent, both stand by the NYPD because of what they had done. And to think that the most effective organization is being attacked by the Associated Press, the New York Times, and those attacks are being joined here on the floor of the Congress of the United States without one fact to back them up. There's no spying. All this is good police work. The reality is we're not going to sit back like we did on September 11th and allow the enemy to come. If we know that an attack is coming, if we're told, for instance, that operatives are coming from a particular country, and there's a community in New York City where those people live, then obviously you do conduct open surveillance. No one's talking about any violations of the Constitution. I remember years ago when the Justice Department was going after the Mafia. They went to the Italian-American communities. When they were going after the Westies, they went to the Irish-American communities. When you're looking for the Russian mob, you go to the communities in Coney Island and Brighton Beach. That's where the enemy comes from. 99% of the people are law-abiding. But if you're looking for the person who is going to that community to carry out a crime, you look in that community. If you're looking for an Islamic terrorist, you don't go to Ben's Kosher Deli. When they were looking for the Italian mob, they didn't go to an Irish bar. They went to the Italian social clubs. This is solid law enforcement. That's not profiling. That's an abuse of the term profiling to even suggest that. So I cannot be more emphatic or stronger in my denunciation of this amendment, calling for its defeat, and urging people to stand by the NYPD, which has kept New York safe for 10.5 years. I went to too many funerals. I attended too many wakes. I lost too many constituents. I'm not going to allow it to happen so long as I'm in this Congress. I oppose this amendment.
Gentleman's time has expired.